Hello guys, my name is Ksenia, welcome to my vlog. I thought that this week I'd start with something different and it would be books, so I'd like to share a few books that I've been reading over the past couple of months. I want to talk about them mainly because I feel like we're now in this, finally in Belgrade at least, we are entering this season when it's getting like really colder, or at least that's what it feels like to me, and it rains a lot more. It's like you really don't want to go out and you'd much rather stay at home and read a book. In my opinion, at least, that's the perfect way to spend your November and December. So I'm gonna say a couple of words about each of the books. We Were Villains by Mel Rio. This is a great dark academia book. I don't think it's that, like, it's been out for a few years. I don't know how old it is or how new it is, but it talks about theater students who live in this study in this eccentric college, I think, to become actors, and all of their studies are based on Shakespeare, and they live in their own like little space a bit far from the rest of the university, and it's cozy. They have because they have their own space by the lake, they have fireplace, they are all immersed into this Shakespearean world. They even talk in Shakespeare verses or the alterations of it, just in real life. It's a group of people, and young people, and they go through a lot during their studies. All of them have their own struggles, maybe dark secrets. And like any dark academia, of course, something bad happens in the book, and the people have to live with it, the guys, and it's a very engaging read. If you want to just open a book and spend a few hours because you can't put it away, because of how interesting it is, how exciting it is, that's the book, I think, in my opinion. Then the second one I've read, I don't know if it's going to be for everyone. Also, I'm a little bit concerned that it's not that easy to find. But anyway, The Ungrateful Refugee by Dina Nayeri. And this book I picked up in Paris in September, and it spoke to me really on so many different levels. In the book, Dina herself is a refugee. Her mom and she fled Iran many years ago, and Dina is now a citizen of the United States of America. And in the book, she talks about her journey as well, but it's not really central for the plot. Not the plot. It's not a fiction book. But she shares the stories of several refugees, and she highlights how little differences, maybe just a little bit of luck or lack of luck, how it has a great influence on the refugees' lives and where they end up. And she talks a lot about the empathy. And the book is called The Ungrateful Refugee because in the book she also shares the sides of being a refugee that not many people want to hear, that is not shared a lot, because people get hate for it. Like, if a refugee complains about something, then they're put in their place immediately. Like, how do you dare? We kind of saved you. We gave you a second chance. Like, stop blaming blah 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 everyone around you, and so on. So yeah, it's a tough read emotionally, but if you're interested to look at the whole refugee situation in general from maybe a bit of a new perspective, and also to just understand it a little better, then this is a great book. I enjoyed it very much for that reason. And the next one is The Idiot by Elif Batuman, and this is actually a first book in the series. She now has the second one out, Either Or, which I don't have yet, but I'm intending to find. And in this book we meet a young girl, well, not that young, she's entering her early adulthood. She applied and she got into Harvard, and that's where she studies, that's where we find her. And she kind of struggles in many different ways, like I think a lot of these students, first-year students, do. She tries to find herself, she meets new people, she starts and sometimes struggles to build relationships. With the studies, I don't think she struggles so much, but I don't know. And interestingly, there is a Russian language class that she takes there, where they have a peculiar kind of study process. And in this class there is also like a there is a story that's broken down into chapters about like a Russian girl and a Russian boy, and there's Siberia as well, and they kind of read those texts as a part of the class, and it kind of creates a nice storyline within the storyline. So the book is very enjoyable, it's very smart, it's very witty, it reminds me of Catch-22 by Joseph Heller in a way. It's just smart, it's smart but not annoyingly smart. So you read it and you have a laugh every now and then. And yeah, I I've thoroughly enjoyed it, I think. And the next book is actually a second part of the trilogy by Marlon James, and this particular book is called Moon Witch, Spider King, and the first one is Black Leopard, Red Wolf. And the first book is absolutely crazy. This one I feel like is more structured, more logical. It's easier to read, but I still would recommend if you are into, I don't know if you'd call it fantasy, I guess. I'm not really good with the genres, but the first book and the second book, they talk about this mythological almost place. A lot of the things that you'd find in the book are inspired by African mythology and African customs and just little, I don't know, superstitions maybe even. And in the first book we meet the Black Leopard and Red Wolf, and there is Moon Witch as well in the first book, where they come together as an unlikely group in search of a boy, and it's unclear who the boy is and what his purpose is, and they kind of, you know, explore this interesting world where a lot of crazy things happen. The book is very graphic in terms of violence and sexual scenes, which you'll find a lot in the book. Yeah, there's kind of a map in here as well. And at first, like when I was reading the first part, it was very confusing, like extremely confusing, but I grew into it. I loved it. I learned to enjoy it kinda. And the second book is much better. So if you heard about this one, because I think that Marlon James is pretty big, I'd say if you're patient and if you feel like you have energy to dive into the completely new world, then this one I think would be a good find for you. And it's been a slow read for me, so yeah, it's gonna engage you for many hours, I think. And the last one I want to briefly mention, I have only like this one, the book cover, because the actual book is in the bedroom where Alexandra and Cookie are still sleeping, so I'm not gonna disturb them. And this is the Bullet That Missed by Richard Osman, and it feels funny holding this like this. But yeah, this is actually it's also a series, and this is the third book from the series by Richard Osman. The first book in the series is the Thursday Murder Club, I think that's the name. And this is a detective series, but it's like, you know, really lighthearted, really funny and nice, and just sweet and warm, and gives you a cozy feeling, and like everything in life is so simple and fun and easy. It's simple and enjoyable, you know, because it talks about a group of retired people, so elderly people who live in a retirement community in a village that is actually specifically for like people above, I think, 65 years old, so you can't even live there if you're younger. And the whole infrastructure of the village is built for older people, for their needs, for their lifestyle. So there are all sorts of, you know, from little things like how there are not many stairs, for example, to a special like a community space with multiple rooms that you can book for specific clubs that you form. And the murder club, Thursday's Murder Club, is where a group of those elderly people, they come together and they look through old police files of the cases that were not solved. They kind of try to solve those murders by discussing them. And of course, at some point, a real murder happens in the village. And of course, the Thursday's Murder Club is gonna, you know, engage themselves into the case and try to see what was going on. And this was the first book. Then in the second book, there was like another murder that they were solving. And the third book is it's continuing with it's all one big storyline. So if you've missed the first two books, I'd say don't start with this one. You may be fine if you start with the second book, but I'd anyway recommend to start with the first one. I think his books are pretty easy to find in bookstores now, so it should not be a problem. And yeah, if you're looking for something that will just let you relax and, you know, kind of have a smile and read a bit of a silly but cute and interesting detective story, I think that's the perfect one. So yeah, that's all the books I wanted to share. I've been reading much more than that, but the other ones I think I have either in other languages or in like electronic format, so as ebooks. So I'll talk about them next time. And now I'm just looking outside. It's a horrible, miserable day. Sky is gray. I feel like it's not raining, but it's like misty, I guess. I don't know. It's sizzling. I don't know how to describe what's going on outside, but I have to take Cookie out. And yeah, I'm not very happy about that. Cookie. we're in Kalimegdan now, and normally it's much quieter, but I guess you can hear like there are leaf blowers working and the guys are cleaning up the park, so it's not as peaceful as it usually is. But it's a little past 8 a.m. and I just feel #blessed all the time that we live so close, like in the city center to Kalimegdan, and that we can walk Cookie here. And by the way, where is she? Found her. Oh my god, I had like a mini heart attack for a second. So I just feel, you know, it's so great that we have this big park, and then there's another smaller park that we go to for a quick walk. And actually this was like a big part of our decision making, like where to live, where to rent the apartment, besides, you know, whenever they would allow us with the dog. I'd really love to have a place with the parks so that it's not going to be a pain in the butt to walk the dog. And thankfully we were able to score such an apartment. So I'm like super happy. And yeah, like being in the park in the morning, I just love it. It's such a great start of the day. Today's Saturday and I'm just chilling with my baby on the sofa, and I think I'll end this vlog here. The week was honestly very quiet and not very eventful, but nonetheless it was good. And next week we're expecting my friend to come to visit, so she's gonna stay with us for a couple of weeks, which is so exciting. That's why I went yesterday. I was shopping for candles, which I showed you. By the way, the Zara candle, it really, the scent is really strong, you know, because like the candles that we have from IKEA, you can barely smell anything, and I know that the scented candles are actually not very healthy, I think, but I don't care. So yeah, the Zara candle is nice, I like it. Yeah, yesterday I also bought a blanket, an extra blanket, because we only have one, and the friend, she needs to sleep somewhere and be covered with it, obviously. And yeah, also it's now almost December, and I'm thinking about trying Vlogmas, although I know that it might not be the best idea to do it this year, but I want to try it, I want to do it. I don't know if I'll do like every single day or if I'll be putting a few days together. We'll see about that. But yeah, I'm gonna try it because I like watching vlogmases and I want to do one. So I think I'll end this vlog here. So thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what you'd like to see in the vlogs, what you don't like to see in the vlogs, and I'll see you soon. Bye!